I'm super excited for today's video. It's going to be a quick one, but I feel like this is a really good topic for today. So I wanted to catch you guys earlier in the day. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe and leave a like. If you're watching this on TikTok and you end up enjoying this live stream, make sure that you leave a like so that my live stream can grow and reach more people. I have a really important topic, and it's going to be about how to love your career, why loving your work changes your entire life. And as you guys know, my name is Renee. I'm a health and life coach. I focus on women's wellness and personal development. In all aspects, I focus on developing people's health and well being, whether it's in terms of their physical health. That's how I mainly started out, but we also talk about emotional health, and we're going to start bringing in career and aligning your career so that you can become somebody who genuinely enjoys their work and integrating work into their life, not somebody who dreads it and puts it off. If you think about it, your work is a huge part of your life. So why not focus on trying to align that and make it the best possible so that you can learn to enjoy working? And I feel like this is a really important topic for more than one reason. So I'm going to share this live stream on my blog, and then we're going to get started. Why loving your work changes your entire life. Most people, when they think of work, what do they think of? They're not automatically in a good mood, right? Sometimes we feel like work is just an obligation. It's just something that we have to do. And I understand that mentality too. We all go through different phases in our career, and it's such a big part of our life that it's worth paying attention to, and it's worth designing intentionally. Because think about it, if you don't like your work, if you don't like beyond jobs, right? Sometimes we have to take a job just to meet our needs. But beyond our job, when we think about our career, when we think about what we want our work to be in the long term, don't you think it's probably important we kind of enjoy it a little bit if we're going to be spending so much time in the workplace? Thanks for joining today's live. Hi, trying to find new friends. Thanks for joining this live. Okay, if you guys are new here, my name is Renee. I'm a health and life coach, and I'm an artist. Did you watch the Spurs? No, I don't watch sports. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining today's live. I know it's early, so I appreciate it. We're going to talk about why loving your work changes your entire life and how we can align our career so that work doesn't become this dreadful thing, but it's something that we integrate into our life and learn to enjoy even. And I feel like women especially need to hear this because online, especially in social media, there is so much advice and there's a lot of rhetoric that basically trains you to believe that someone's going to save you. And women love fantasy. They really, really love this idea, especially if you listen to it a lot. You can really end up truly believing that it's somebody else's responsibility to take care of you financially, to work. And that's not true for several reasons, although some people choose to go that way to focus on family and things like that. It's a personal choice, it's not right or wrong. But what I want to bring attention to is that work can be something that's very fulfilling and can help you enjoy your life if you are intentional about what you are doing for work. Thank you for joining today's live on YouTube. If you enjoy, leave me a like. We're talking about why loving your work changes your entire life and how you can intentionally design your life that way. I'm drinking my favorite coffee right now. I just want to share my favorite coffee combo. It's the bold black coffee it's from the grocery store. And if you have the Malk brand, it's MALK. The coconut milk is really, really good with black coffee. That's what I'm drinking right now. If you guys are into coffee, you should try it out and let me know if you like that combo. Okay, so let me know what your thoughts are on career, on working. Do you like your job? Do you just do it because you have to? Is there something that you would rather be doing that you just don't know what the steps are to get there? I want to take this live stream to give it more thought and really start to be more intentional. So, especially concerning women, because my focus is women's wellness, right? I think one of the biggest lies women, I hope you guys can see me and hear me again. But I think that one of the biggest lies women are being sold right now, online especially, is that fulfillment is going to come from being chosen, from being saved, or being rescued into a beautiful life. Like, we really have started to believe that it's someone else's responsibility to shape our life concerning our career and what our future is going to be financially. And that is just not the truth. I want you to feel more empowered than that. You deserve more than that. You deserve to experience the sense of joy and fulfillment that comes from having work that not only sustains you, right? Like, that's the baseline, but work that you actually enjoy. Yes, there is such thing. There is such thing as liking your work. I feel like people automatically assume that that's not true, that that's a myth, but it's not. It takes intentionality, right? It takes planning. Thanks for sending a rose on TikTok. I appreciate it. We're talking about learning to love your work so that we can kind of demystify this idea that work is just a chore, it's just an obligation, it's just something you have to do. Obviously, work is an obligation, but it can be more than that if you allow it to be. You can learn to enjoy your work. And ladies, I want us to stop running away from giving our career some more thought. Okay, I want us to be intentional about the way that we are designing our careers, the way that we are thinking about work and not outsourcing it to other people. Okay, so let me know any thoughts you have on this conversation. I'll read them in the comments. Okay, but I want to take us out, especially where women are concerned, of this fantasy that someone else is going to rescue us and then our life is going to be beautiful, or someone else is going to save us and then we can finally enjoy our life and experience stability. You can have that now and have the relationship that you want. You don't need to bring that level and energy, if you think about it on a deeper level, of survival into your relationship, where you are depending on them in that way to give you a sense of stability, and beyond stability, give you a sense of purpose. That really is up to you to develop. And I guess it goes both ways, but I do think that men are conditioned more to understand the value of work and the value of hard work, right? But we all deserve to feel that sense of fulfillment that comes from working. And it doesn't, the reason that people get turned off from this idea is because they automatically begin associating work, especially women, we automatically begin associating work with hustle culture. Or we think that if we work a lot and we enjoy work and we make work central in our lives, that somehow we're less of a woman or we're anti feminine. These are the limiting beliefs that come up when we really start to think about work. As silly as they sound, this is the case a lot of the time, okay? And it's not, work doesn't have to be associated with this idea of suffering and, grinding endlessly. I want to rewire how we are looking at work so that we can learn to love work. Okay? 1 second. Thank you guys so much for joining today's live stream. Leave me a like if you're enjoying this topic. We're talking about learning to enjoy loving work, creating a fulfilling career, creating a career that's aligned with our personality so that it's not something that you dread, but it's actually something that you enjoy. It's something that's tailor-made just for you. And no, it does not happen overnight, okay? Sometimes it takes work, it takes thought, it takes careful planning, but it's worth it because you spend so much of your life involved in your work, in the workplace or in the industry that you choose. So if you think about it, it is very, very important, okay? I think women deserve support, love, softness, beauty, rest, right? We associate those things outside of work. We associate them more with pleasure. But I also think women deserve the confidence and fulfillment that comes from being an active, participant in creating their own life. And part of creating your own life is having intentionality behind what your work is going to be, what your career is going to look like. Okay? Let me know if you guys are following my train of thought. But number one, where we're going to get started when we're trying to align our career and learn to love our work or create a career that we will love in the future if we're not there right now. Maybe right now we're just doing a job that we have to do because that's what the moment requires. And it's not maybe something we're passionate about, but it's getting us from point A to point B. That's okay. That is a phase of life that sometimes we have to go through. It doesn't mean that you automatically stop thinking about the future or what you want your work to look like eventually. Sometimes where we are in our career right now is not making us happy. It's not content. It's just filling the time and meeting our baseline needs. But even during those times, you should still spend energy trying to envision a future where you will enjoy your career, where you will be doing a kind of work that you really like. And a lot of times we avoid thinking about that because it's daunting. It's kind of like it's a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. We don't want to do all of that work. We want to avoid working. But who's going to do that for you? You know what I mean? Let me know if you guys understand. Okay? Today's topic is learning to love work and aligning our careers. Number one, especially where women are concerned, we have to start chipping away at this idea and fantasy of being saved. This is a really common block, just believing that there's somebody else that's going to step in and align your life for you. There's someone else that's going to step in and give you the step by step guide on exactly what to do, or there's someone else that's going to come in and you're going to be able to just live off of them. Online culture, especially in social media, romanticizes this idea of being taken care of. And I encourage you guys to think beyond finances when you think of being taken care of, because I think that's very human, that desire in your relationships to feel that way. But outsourcing your financial health to your relationship is probably going to work against you most of the time, if not directly, indirectly, by cheating you out of feeling fulfilled through your work. Okay? We want our lives to be this entire picture where all of these different aspects are bringing us happiness. Whether it's our relationships, are your relationships making you feel fulfilled? That's one aspect of your health and your emotional well being. Is your health and physical health on point? Like, do you physically feel good in your body? That's another part of our life that we want to be lined up and make us feel fulfilled. How is your career? Are you feeling aligned in your career? Are you happy with the work that you do? Do you feel a sense of purpose? Do you feel like it aligns with your personality? When your work aligns with your personality, it's a lot more natural. Like, you start to, your day is a little bit different because it's in line, it's in step with who you are as a person. You start to not see work as separate from you, but as a part of you. And the good news is that that is something you can intentionally curate in your life. Okay. So, all of these different aspects, our health, our relationships, our career, our spirituality, right? All of these different aspects, what some people call the tree of life, is what's going to help you build a sense of emotional well being. Okay. Let me know what you guys are thinking, and if you have anything to add to this conversation in the comments. All right, I appreciate you guys joining in. Let me know where you're watching from. All right. Thanks for joining today's live on YouTube. Let's see what you guys are saying. Good morning. It's nice seeing you this early. Yep, up and early. We're talking about learning to love work and why loving your work changes your life. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate it. I'm watching from Georgia. Oh, that's awesome. Let me know where you guys are watching from on TikTok. That's the cool thing about live streaming, is that people can join in from everywhere. So it's interesting because I feel like sometimes time isn't that important because people can just watch from their time zone. Okay, So the number one thing we have to do when and that okay, you don't work, that's okay. We're just talking about envisioning a career that is aligned. Everyone is in a different phase of their life, right? And no matter where you are, if you're working a job that you don't like and it's just meeting your basic needs, but you don't want to stay there forever, or if you're in a career that you are content with, or if you're not working, it's all okay. It's all okay, right? We have to accept where we are right now, but that doesn't mean that we should stop thinking about what we want our future to look like. You can give yourself the opportunity to think, what is my life going to look like when I'm doing a line of work that I really like? What would a line of work that I enjoy look like? Some of us don't even let ourselves think that far or really consider the idea that there is a reality that exists where we enjoy the work that we're doing. We want to get to that point. Good morning. Thanks for joining today's live stream. We are talking about learning to love your work, aligning our career so that it is integrated into our lives and it's not this dreadful thing, so that it aligns with your personality. So, number one, we have to get rid of this fantasy of being saved. We have to stop romanticizing this idea of being taken care of when it relates to our career and our finances, because you cannot outsource a sense of fulfillment, right? There is a strange sense. Let me know if you've ever been this locked in. When you start to be so locked in that you really start enjoying the locked inness. Like if you've ever been on your fitness journey and you first are starting, at first that meal prep is annoying. You want to eat the takeout, you want to eat your sweet treats, but it's like after you get over that initial hump and you're in the flow, like you've started to build a habit, there's less resistance there. There is this strange sense of like fulfillment that you get from eating healthy. Like you start to really enjoy being locked in, or if you're in school, right? You have to develop the habit of studying. At first, it's a chore, but sometimes you get so locked in that you literally start enjoying studying. Like it's strange. So there is this feeling that you can get sometimes from how fulfilled you feel from work that is it's really different. It's not the same kind of pleasure that you're getting from like dopamine or this short-term fulfillment. It's the kind of confidence that gets built in the long run, okay? So that's what we're talking about today. Sometimes we use, speaking of escaping this desire for fantasy and this fantasy of being saved when it comes to our career, that's one of the things we have to really look at and dismantle before we can start considering what we want our careers to look like, is that sometimes relationships become a fantasy escape from uncertainty. So sometimes we're using our relationships in a way to help us escape reality. We're using it as a source of distraction from giving our lives deeper thought, right? We sometimes feel uncertain around our career. I know that that's been me several times. Hey, thanks for joining. So real. Thanks for joining today. We're talking about career alignment, learning to love your work. There is such thing, and I want to be a part of that conversation to help people learn how to enjoy loving their work, learn how to align their career in a way where it's not this dreadful thing, it's just a part of your life. And one of the things that we do sometimes is use our relationships as a form of escape, as a form of distraction. We use it as something to fill the time because we're feeling like this kind of stress. It's called dysfunctional stress. So there are two kinds of stress, guys. One kind of stress, I you would think that I didn't even learn this in my life and health coaching training. I actually learned this in school and when I was learning about business, that there's two kinds of stress. One kind of stress is called functional stress. This is like very practical reasons for being stressed, like you have a health issue or you are failing to meet your basic needs, whether it's your housing or you don't have money for food, something like that's very practical and grounded, that can cause functional stress where there is a clear circumstantial reason that you are stressed. That's one type of stress, functional stress. Then we have dysfunctional stress. Dysfunctional stress is the kind of stress that you get from feeling unfulfilled, from feeling a lack of direction. It's a lower grade stress. Maybe sometimes you can even experience dysfunctional stress when you don't have enough going on. So if you're not occupied, if you have a lot of time on your hands and you don't know what to do and you have this sense of aimlessness, that can cause dysfunctional stress. And how do you combat that? By developing your side of your personality that enjoys work, by bringing a sense of purpose into your work. So let me know if that makes sense and if you guys are following. I'm having a noise issue right now and it's a really bad stress, right? So that's an example of functional stress when your daily life is interrupted. And I know what you mean because it becomes chronic. Is it from construction? Because I know that's really common. Okay. I have the sense of hearing like loud noises. So are you somebody that needs quiet to feel calm? Because you know what's interesting? Some people have gotten so used to loud noise that the quiet feels weird to them. Like I know people like that. Dear Renee, why do I feel so alone when there's everyone around me? Oh, that's a very sweet question, and you're not the only person that feels that way. And do you know what? Sometimes we feel alone with other people because we are abandoning ourselves. So inside, we feel lonely because we don't feel connected to ourselves. We feel separate from ourselves. So if you can bridge that gap, maybe that will help because your relationship with yourself is the most important. Been a minute. How have you been? I'm good. Thanks for joining today's live. I know it's early. I'm actually surprised that there's people on this at all. I thought it was just going to, get recorded and posted on my channel. But thanks for joining. We're talking about learning to love work. We have to get into this place where we stop avoiding thinking about our long-term future. That's one of the most loving things that you can do for yourself is give your long-term future some thought, some consideration. All right. Leave me a like on YouTube if you're enjoying today's video. Leave me a like if you're enjoying this live stream on TikTok and follow me. Don't be shy. Subscribe to my channel as well if you're watching this on YouTube. My YouTube channel is my predominant social media. So if you are enjoying this live stream, make sure you're subscribed on there. I make long form content. It doesn't always perform that well on TikTok, but it's not going to stop me from live streaming on here. Hello, how are you? I'm good. How are you? How do you know all this? I'm just brainstorming, talking about things I've seen, observations. You guys can share your thoughts too. It's a conversation. All right. So, how we're going to learn to love our work and align our career is get rid of this fantasy of being saved by not romanticizing this idea of being taken care of, by not overly romanticizing that idea or expecting somebody to step in and rescue us and put us on a life path that everything's going to be perfect. Like some people, and this is very common, they put off their life for after they get into that relationship that they want, for after marriage. Like they make that the center of their life and they think that things will change very dramatically after that happens. Like they make that their goalpost. But a relationship is only one aspect of your life. It's not going to fulfill you overall. There's a sense of fulfillment that you get from other things. And when you have all of them going for yourself, that's when you're going to experience well being. It's not fair also to put that amount of pressure on one person, on one relationship. And relationships oftentimes become a fantasy escape from uncertainty. Now we're going to talk about finances. Financial dependence can feel emotionally safer than confronting adulthood. So sometimes we have this way of outsourcing our finances to other people because we don't want to take on that level of responsibility for our life, for our future. It's a lot easier to put that on somebody else. And that is a form of keeping yourself still in this childlike state, when you're avoiding something that's that serious. And you can get away with that when you're younger, but when you're an adult, it starts to become something to really be concerned about, because nobody's going to step in and take care of that for you. Maybe you get lucky and during one phase of your life you have somebody that's helping you. It doesn't negate that in the future that is ultimately up to you, because people can change their mind, circumstances can change. But if you do yourself the favor of thinking in the long term of what you will do in terms of your finances, in terms of your career, that's a very loving thing. Okay. I'm working on getting my investment licenses. That's awesome. Never stop building. Never stop building your career. Never stop building your life, right? You can't outsource that. Very important. Okay. All right. So a lot of times when we're avoiding thinking about our career in the long term, it's not coming from this place of being lazy. Sometimes it's just stressful to think that far out, and it becomes overwhelming, and then we start behaving in this way of avoiding the future. Okay? But do yourself the favor and start to consider what it is that you want your career to look like. So leave me in the comments, if you could work anywhere, any career you want, where would you work? What would you want your work to look like? Okay? And people joke around and they'll be like, I don't dream of labor. I don't dream of having to work for a living. You say that now, but I know people who are really living that life where they don't have to work. They just have that kind of privilege. And they have a different set of problems. They have a different kind of stress and boredom that I don't see with people that are working and genuinely enjoying what it is that they do. Because there's levels to the career, right? Like there's a job that you do just because you have to. Then, there's the early phase of a career that you chose into. And then you're growing in that career and you're like, what can I do to make this enjoyable? What can I do to really align it with who I am as a person? Like for me, for example, with a lot of money, okay, that's your dream career. Okay, but what does the career itself look like? What is the work that you're going to do that you will enjoy to get yourself to that place? Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying on YouTube. Renee, what do you think of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant? I don't know who that is. Who's that? Maybe I saw a clip of her. Why? Is she like controversial or something? Maybe I know who that is, but what is she known for? Let me know. Okay. You guys know who that is on TikTok? Cheyenne Bryant? Do you speak Spanish? Yes, I speak Spanish. I speak Spanish and Portuguese and English. Okay. So a lot of times we're not lazy. We are just overwhelmed, and that's what's stopping us from thinking so much about the future. Do I speak Korean? No, I don't speak Korean. I speak English, Spanish, Portuguese. I want to learn French. Spiritual work and healing people is my passion, really, not just making money. Okay, so you're probably into wellness. That's really important information. That's something that you have to take into consideration when you're thinking about what it is that you want to do for work. You probably want your work to have an element of helping people, helping them become well, right? I had a similar thing. That's why I got into health and life coaching. I also, my career, I'm going to get into that a little bit later on this live stream, but normalize dynamicism in your career. Like, I know sometimes the advice is to choose one path and stick to that, but I'm here for all of the people who enjoy doing more than one thing. Sometimes you have to change it up, and that's what's going to give you longevity. Like me personally, it's very hard for me to stay in one lane for a long time because I enjoy learning new things, and that's part of what keeps me engaged in my work. When things feel so easy, I start to get bored, I start to feel unfulfilled, and that's just a part of my personality. So over the years, I've genuinely and intentionally changed my career path, changed what I'm doing for work to keep myself engaged and inspired. And I'm going to give you guys some more detail about how I've done that in my life later in this live. But some of the things that stop us from giving our future career some thought is that we're scared of failing, right? We're just scared of looking dumb. We're scared that something's not going to work out. But we need to not let that be a limiting block in our life. Fear of failure, it doesn't, sometimes you're gonna fail. It's what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen if you fail? Don't let that be what's stopping you from trying. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, leave me a like on YouTube, engage in the chat, let me know any thoughts that you have on this topic. I think that work is something we should pay attention to and give some thought into aligning into our life, because we're going to have to work. That's just the reality of life. So why not make it something enjoyable? Okay. And there's a huge myth that you cannot make money doing the thing that you love. That's not true. Okay. My first love when it came to working was art and music. And I really thought at one point that that was going to be the only thing that I did with my life, was just be an artist and just be a musician. And I still love that. That's still a big part of who I am, being a creative person. But I've learned that I also enjoy doing other things. And one of the biggest like lies that I had to like really what is it like undo in my mind was that creative people don't make money. Like I just associated artistry with being like struggling. Like what's that saying about artists, like struggling artists, or there's just this connotation that we have with artists that they are struggling, that they are not, you know, being they're not rich, you know what I'm saying? Like there's just that connotation for whatever reason, the struggling artist. And I had to literally find examples of artists that that's not the case. I had to also observe it in real life, creative people that I met in real life that are successful, and train myself to believe that that's the norm. So it's really a lie. It's a myth that you can't make money doing what it is that you like, especially when it comes to creative people, because creative people just sometimes think differently, and they're going to have to go about building their career in a different way in order to build it to a place where they are experiencing financial success, because a lot of times there's moving parts. That's a part of the creative personality. And one of the careers that fits creative type people is what they call portfolio career, where you basically work in more than one industry, you have more than one job, and then they all combine, and they make your life fulfilling, they make your work fulfilling, but you're not in one lane, you're doing several things, and that's how you're incorporating your creative side into your career. So if you think about it, social media is one of those spaces for a lot of people, because there is a creative aspect, right? You can make your videos however you want, you can design your thumbnails, you can curate your aesthetic. Like there's a lot of creativity that goes into social media, but that's only one part, because you can make your platform about whatever it is that you want to talk about, right? So there's ways to integrate your creative side into your career. All right. Let me know if that makes sense. Leave any comments you guys have in the chat. We're talking about how to create a work and career that you love. Okay. What to do when everyone hates you. Sometimes when we get into that black and white thinking that everyone is against me, there's a part of our brain that's over exaggerating what's really going on, because there's such thing as absolute truth. Like, is it an absolute truth that everyone hates you? Everyone in the world hates you? No, right? Your brain is just, that's a symptom of anxiety when you start to think in absolutes like that. So you have to look for examples of ways that people don't hate you. You know what I mean? Like even the silliest things, like, you go to the grocery store and you check out and the person's nice to you. Okay, that person doesn't hate me. Like you have to start looking at evidence that is against what it is that you're overthinking about. When it comes to food, I'm a number one eater, okay? Oh, dang, I fell for it. This is why sometimes I can't read comments out loud. Imma block you. Sigh. Alright. I want to produce and direct my own movies. That's awesome. You should I met some you're laughing. Oh, man, live stream is different. I respect people who do the live streaming thing, but what's it called? Producing and directing your own movies, that's really cool. You can do it. I met somebody, at one of my last jobs that they had gotten this lump sum, I don't know from what it was, but it was like a few $1,000s, and they